Well, hello, I'm Mike Leonard. Here's another Friday Night Photoshop. Tonight I'm going to introduce some things that we can do with layer masks. Let's just dive right in. So first, what is a layer mask? Well, let's create one. I'm just going to create a canvas, and this is just a white canvas. This is all. And if I bring up layers, you see this is the background. If I were to take and poke a hole in this, that would be kind of like taking a sheet of paper, cutting a hole in it to make like a mat, right? And then I could put something behind it, and this would act as a custom mat. So let's just do that. So I'm going to take this background and double click on it just to make it layer 0. Now I'm going to draw a circle. And if I want that to be a perfect circle, by the way, I'd come up here and say fixed ratio. And if I do 2 by 2, 1 by 1, doesn't matter. So if I just go and draw a circle like this, and I can click in the middle, and I'll just put it here in the middle. And now if I hit delete, and oh, and I did have a feather around that too. So you'll notice what's happened is I've just cut a hole with softness around this layer. So now I can go and open another layer, grab something from my Rangeley trip, why not? And maybe I'll take this waterfall. Now, I've already processed this. This is a raw file. And I'm just going to immediately open this, but I'm going to make it smaller because I don't need anything to be really big here. And I'll just say open. Now, if I take this image, and the key is to undock it just by pulling it down, it undocks it. And if I take this background layer now, move it over on top of this canvas, and now I can get rid of this. I don't care to save that. Now I just have to change the layer such that my mask layer is on top. And now I just have to move this layer underneath. And if I wanted to size this, I can do that just by right-clicking on the image, saying Free Transform, and now I can just size this to fit into this area, just like that. Maybe I need to go a little bigger. There we go. And I'll say done. So now I've taken like a piece of mat board, I've cut a hole in it, but because I'm working with Photoshop, that cut doesn't have to be a hard cut, it can be soft. And then what I did was put that simply over this picture. And that's the shortest thing I can demonstrate for what we're going to be doing here, talking about layers so that we can present images in this fashion. But there's so much more that we can do. Now let's do it another way. I'm going to again double click on this background and just make this layer 0. Now what I think I'll do is put a couple of boxes up here, and I'm going to get rid of this feather. I'm just going to have 0. And instead of being a circle, I'm just going to make a square, and I'll just choose a fixed ratio of 5 to 5. Okay, so I can draw a box. And now what I'd like to do is to create a layer mask, and what I need to do is to fill this first. So if I were to say fill with black, there we go. Now, what I need to do is to select, using the magic wand tool, the outside, and now I'm going to come down here and click on this mask. What this has just done is to create this mask. If I look at the mask, this is what it looks like. Everything black in the mask is going to reveal. Everything white is going to conceal. So now let's go open another image and see how this is going to work. I could do the same waterfall, I guess. And just like before, I'm going to just pull this down, and I'm going to throw this over here onto the canvas, close this. No, I'm not going to change anything. And I'm going to put the image underneath. Now for this, I'm going to resize this, again using Free Transform, and you can see what's happening here. I don't want to go smaller, obviously, otherwise we see that. Anytime you see that checkerboard, that's transparent. Think of a picture frame that doesn't even have glass in it. That's how transparent this is. So now if I just do this and say OK, I'll bring this up. Now what I've done is I've taken this canvas and instead of cutting a hole in it, I've just done it by doing a mask. Now, where this could be of use is what if you were to do a template for something, maybe like a trading card? Let's see how that would work. You've probably heard of Topps playing cards. Well, today we're dealing with bottoms, and this is simply a template with this transparency in the middle. So what I can now do with this template is I can change whatever words I might want up on the top. It doesn't have to be bottoms. There's a space here where I could put some text in. And of course, the white all around the perimeter is all solid. But you'll notice we've got this transparency in the middle. So now if I were to come over to here and look for something that might work in the middle, let's open up these buoys. I'm going to collapse these because those were a layer. And now I'm just going to pull this down, put this in, and say X. I don't need that anymore. And I need to put this underneath. Remember, layers are hierarchical. And I just need to change the size because this was really rather big. So if I make this really rather small and put this in here, I'm using my my mouse to resize this, which is nice. Let's move this down. Oh yeah, it'd be nice to get the ropes, wouldn't it? So you see what I'm doing here is I am putting this in, and maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat here and just squinch this down just a little. And I'll bring this up just a little too. Okay, so now I've just put these buoys in the middle of this trading card, and I could put anything I want in there. And this could be a sports team name, or maybe a company name, or you can put a company logo up here, and then you could put the person's name in here and create trading cards. And there's templates that you can find just by Googling trading card templates. You'll find some. You're welcome to this one if you really like it. You see, by having this template, look at how nice it is that I can go and drop in whatever I want. And it's pretty quick. All I need to do is to then go and save this out as a JPEG and then go ahead and make a print, and I'm done. If I wanted to save some, I would make up a bunch of these and put them all onto a single sheet, send it off to a printer and let them do the slicing and dicing, so then you could get the print done for a lot less money. So there's an application of using a template in which to put a picture into a frame like this. So let's go do something else that's a little bit fun. So once again, I'm going to start with a blank slate, and I'm going to pull out layers. And this time I'm going to take the type tool and I'm just going to type something here. TEXT. Now I really wanted that to be in black. So that's easy. I'll just come up here, web colors, and make that black. Next, I'd like to make this bigger. So we know about scrubbies. All I have to do is come up here. You can see how the hand turns to the scrubbies with the little arrows. If I just simply left click my mouse and move it over, I can make this nice and big. And then what I need to do is to move this down here. I'm not so sure that I like this particular font, so let's work on that. So if I wipe over this, I can grab this and look for a different font. This one might be good. Yeah, I'll go with that. So there's the word text. Now, I need to take this background and double click on it so that I can make it so that we can put things under it. When it's a background, think of that as being the lowest part of your house. You can't go underneath. So by hitting layer, that means we can go underneath. Now I'm going to come up here and use the magic wand tool and just click. And I need to click here on the text layer. And you'll notice that what this is now giving me is the marching ants all around the word. Now if I come over here to layer 0, because I've made a selection, if I click on this layer mask, this now just made a layer mask in the shape of the word text, these letters, and if I shut off this eyeball, you'll see I've got these letters underneath. And these are transparent. Remember, when we have these transparencies, we can see through it? So now I can take pictures and put them into the letters real easily. So I'll throw this down here, close this. Remember, I have to put this underneath. And if I wanted just one image in all the letters, I could. That might be, by the way, it might be useful for like a skyline shot. So let's just go and see. Can I need to resize this. So, free transform. And I just want to make this fit over one letter. What letter should it be? This T, or would it look better in an X? Or I'll just put it in the T. Okay, doesn't matter that's spilling over a little. Now let's go find another image that might be good for the letter E. So I'll open this one up and I'm going to pull this down, drag this over. You'll notice that goes behind already. So now I need to right click on this, free transform. If I zoom out, you can see how big the image really is. So I'm just going to make this really small and move this back. And maybe this would go good in the letter X. That might look kind of cool. I'll just go there with it. But you get the idea what I'm doing here, I think. If I go and find some other image, why not this flower? This is a raw file, so I'm going to have to make sure that that's resized. I'm just going to open this real quick, and I'm going to pull this down, move this over, just like I've done 3 other times, and then just close this. No, I'm not going to save the changes. And if I right click, I can now say free transform, and I'm going to put this to fit into the letter E somehow. Maybe like this. I'll pull this down just, well, maybe I like to have that bigger. Yeah, let's have that flower just fill the E. Okay. Now remember I said we don't have to worry about this spilling over because I can just take this rectangular marquee tool, and if I just make this normal, I can just draw a box like this and just hit delete. And I'll do the same thing here. And I gotta make sure that I don't delete part of what I don't want. All right. And then I've just got one more letter to go. And then for the last T, probably these buoys aren't gonna be the best, but let's pull this down. And yeah, you see I've been using these for other things. I will just take this and resize this one with the free transform, and I'll just put this in here just for now so you know what it is. How long did that take? I mean, I just pretty quickly did this. Now, if I take away the mask, you can see what I've done. All I've got is just a series of images that I've just put together, and then I just put this mask over it. Now, I could have had a zip code here. I could have had the name of a town. I could have whatever. I could have the name of a town, and if you've got a good skyline, like here in Portland, there's a number of things that you can do. And this is what we call pictures and words. But again, this all is around the idea of this layer mask, because you see, if I look at the mask, if I hit the Alt key and then simply click on the mask, this is what the mask looks like. Remember, the white is, in this case, concealing the images, what's in the background, what's under the top layer, and the black is revealing what is underneath. And so if I click out of that and come over to this white, by the way, this doesn't have to be white. I could go do a Control U right now if I wanted and go hit colorize. And if I bring the lightness down just a little bit, I can make that any color I want. and bring up the saturation if I want. So maybe if it's somebody's birthday, you put their name in there, and then what's their favorite color? Their favorite color is blue? Okay, there you go. You can even do like a royal blue. So you can have a lot of fun with this. So this is a quick way to put pictures in words. And again, it's all about having this layer mask right here. So let's just do one more here, and I know some folks on board here have seen this 100 times. So for the folks who have seen this, you can take a quick break. If you're new, then you might enjoy this. So now what I'd like to do is to combine a couple of images. And the easiest way to do this is in Bridge. I'm just going to select the two images that I'd like to combine. And if I go up to Tools and go to Photoshop, I can say, let's load these into Photoshop layers. So anything I select from Bridge will immediately go into layers. So there we go. Now these are hardly aligned. You can see the background bounces around. So what I'm going to do is select both of these images and go to Edit, and then go to Auto Align Layers. And I'll just simply say OK. Now, when I click on this top one, you'll notice that the background is pretty solid. The only thing that moves is this cattail down here because the wind blew. And you can see by how much off I wasn't using a tripod when I shot this. So now you look at this and you say, remember, layers are hierarchical, so this layer here that's on top is blocking us from seeing the layer underneath. But what if I wanted to have both of these on the screen at once? Well, remember, we did talk about blends. So I could blend this. What if I blend just this top layer? Well, if I do that, both of the vehicles are now like ghosts. You can see through both of them. So we don't want that. So here's where a layer mask can be really wonderful. We'll simply click on the layer mask. And now if I take the paintbrush, I'm going to hit the D key to go to default and hit X to exchange. So now I'm painting with black. And I'll go with a little smaller brush. I'm using the bracket keys. And I'm going to paint right on this mask. Look at what happens. That's how I get the two vehicles in there perfectly. And if I turn this on and off, you can see what's happening. And if I do this one, you see I've just poked a hole. That's all I did. You want to see what the hole looks like? Alt and click on the mask. There it is. So now I was able to very quickly combine these two. Now there's a shadow here that maybe I don't like that. So remember what I can do, hit D for default, and then X to exchange. I have to be on the mask, and then I'm just going to paint white right in here, and I just got rid of that shadow. If I don't want so much shadow here, I'll just paint white. I can take some of that out, or if I hit X to exchange, I can actually move some more back in. That's the power of using a layer mask to be able to combine things. Now, we started with just taking a canvas and poking a hole in it and putting an image behind it. Then I did the same thing but using a layer mask, which allows us to move it and have a little more control. And then I showed you how to put some text up and apply that to a layer mask. And now I'm combining a couple of images to have two images come together. There's a lot more things you can do with these, obviously. I hope this is just a good starter to get you going so that you can go and play with this and have a little more confidence about what this layer mask is all about. So there's a brief introduction to layer masks and with some demonstrations showing what you can do with them. Thanks for joining me. I hope to see you for another Friday Night Photoshop.